Everybody listen. Everybody listen. Guys, let's go. All right, appreciate everybody taking time to come and come back in this room again. I know it was a long day of presentations when we met earlier. So the purpose of today's meeting is you've had a chance to go through your rubrics. The data has been uploaded into EdCredible, so we're going to look at some of the data. And then the purpose is now to narrow down from 4 to 2, to our top 2, okay? So what we'll do is we'll walk through some of the data and pricing. We'll rank our publishers out, and then we'll talk about the next steps of the process, and that's the school vote at your individual schools, okay? So just to kind of kick it off, got our publishers up here at the top, and based on the data that was uploaded in EdCredible, those are the average scores, okay? That does not mean that's our top 2. That's just to kind of give us a reference point for us to start our ranking process. So it looks like our top 2 was McGraw-Hill and Savvis had the 2 highest average scores. You had Accelerate with the 3rd highest, and then Discovery was 4th, okay? So what Miss Ellis and I did, just for a point of reference, is we also went and pulled out some pricing models. And so when you're at your tables discussing, I'll leave those up there just for you to take a look at. What those are, that's the 5-year adoption. That's the price per student, okay? And that covers it for 5 years. And Miss Ellis, correct me if I'm wrong, this is provides digital access to the book, and then it's an interactive, consumable activity book.
Well,
okay.
Activity book, we call it a textbook.
Textbook,
So the basic adoption package will be a consumable textbook and digital access. Kind of what you got now.
And so if you look at the pricing on that, our top 2 just on average score, okay? They're close in price. You can see Savvis tiers out their pricing a little bit between 3rd and 5th and K2, but they fall fairly close in line with McGraw-Hill, okay? So what we'll do now is everybody should have a ranking sheet, and I borrow a lot of the language from the state on the sheet, and what that's saying at the bottom is that you've reviewed the publisher's materials, that nobody has become employed by a publisher throughout this process. They haven't sent you any kind of cars or gifts or anything like that, that you have no financial incentive, okay? So I'm going to give you about 3 to 4 minutes at your tables. Feel free to have a little discussion, but you're going to rank out your publishers 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? Then when I bring us back together, I'm going to just go down the list of schools, so I'll call Antioch out, and you'll tell me your 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? And then the lowest average score, the top 2, that's how we determine our top 2, okay? And then we'll have time for discussion after we rank them out. So we can see all the data up on the screen. We'll have a time for discussion, and then we will go and talk about the next step on the school voting process, okay? So I'll give you about 3 minutes to fill that sheet out. Feel free to have some conversation, and then we'll come back and discuss.
We like McGraw-Hill and separate grade. I'm just looking at numbers. Yeah, everybody had accelerated on theirs. Yeah. My team says. I like this one better than but I can't. I'd love to just be like, every free wants that. Yeah, I do, but it's not the case. So, yeah. So I still find it interesting that someone saw this and that high. I like this. We did too. Because we don't like that. Yeah, I'm like, you don't get that. Anyway, no, that was ours. That was ours. Actually came in. Well, and I'm only where I am. We only have we only have so those are the ones I've used. I'm in the nose. Was yours, what was yours? But that was K through, that was input from K through 5, was different from next one. Yeah, so I ended up just changing. No, it's just.
Take about one more minute, one more minute.
May have changed their mind if you have another
Yeah, no
form.
problem. Yeah, that's why I got extras.
I want to see them.
All right, let's go ahead and come back together, and we will start ranking them out. So I told this to the last group. I forgot to mention this to the high school group. So the definition of a committee is everybody's equally unhappy, right? And so I feel like if everybody walks out of here equally dissatisfied, I've done a good job. So I know somebody's not going to get what they want, right? And unfortunately, that's the nature of this process. But our goal here is to have a transparent and objective process. And so that's why we kind of do our public ranking and narrow it down. So with that being said, I'm going to start off with Antioch. And so if you will call out to me your 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, number 1 is McGraw Hill,
Okay.
2 Discovery, 3 is Accelerate, 4 is Savant.
Okay. All right, Blue Water.
Accelerates 1, Discovery 2, McGraw Hill 3, Savas 4.
Oh, that was easy. Bob Sykes.
1 is McGraw Hill, 2 is Discovery, 3 is Savas, and 4 is Accelerate.
All right, Destin.
1 is McGraw Hill, 2 is Savas,
Oh, oh,
3 Discovery Education, and 4 Accelerate.
I'm sorry. All right, 1 was McGraw Hill. I'm sorry.
2 was Savas, 3 was Discovery, and 4 was Accelerate.
All right, Edge.
We go 1 with McGraw Hill, 2 with Discovery, 3 with Savas, and 4 with Accelerate.
Edwins.
1 McGraw Hill, 2 Savas, 3 Accelerate, 4 Discovery.
Eglin.
1 Savas, 2 Discovery, 3 Accelerate, and 4 McGraw.
Elliott Point.
1 McGraw Hill, 2 Accelerate, 3 Savas, and 4 Discovery.
All right, Florosa.
1 McGraw Hill, 2 Discovery, 3 Accelerate, 4 Savas.
Kenwood.
1 McGraw Hill, 2 Discovery, 3 Accelerate, 4 Savas.
All right, Longwood.
1 McGraw Hill, 2 Accelerate, 3 Savas, 4 Discovery.
Mary Esther.
1 McGraw Hill, 2 Discovery, 3 Accelerate, and 4 Savas.
Northwood.
1 McGraw Hill, 2 Savas, 3 Accelerate, 4 Discovery.
Blue.
1 McGraw Hill, 2 Savas, 3 Discovery, 4 Accelerate.
Riverside.
1 McGraw Hill, 2 Accelerate, 3 Savas, 4 Discovery.
Shalimar.
1 McGraw Hill, 2 Savas,
3 Discovery Education, and 4 Accelerate.
All right, Southside?
1 McGraw-Hill, 2 Savas, 3 Accelerate, and 4 Discovery.
Okay, give me just a second. Try to. We'll make it a little smaller so I don't have to scroll up and down. All right, Walker?
1 McGraw-Hill, 2 Savas, 3 Discovery, and 4 Accelerate.
Wright?
1 McGraw Hill, 2 Accelerate, 3 Discovery, 4 Savas.
Baker?
1 Accelerate, 2 McGraw Hill, 3 Discovery,
All right, Laurel Hill?
1 McGraw, 2 Accelerate, 3 Discovery, and 4 Savas.
Lewis?
1 Savas, 2 Discovery, 3 McGraw-Hill, and 4 Accelerate.
Ballet?
1 McGraw-Hill, 2 Savas, 3 Accelerate, 4 Discovery.
Destin Middle?
1 McGraw-Hill, 2 Accelerate, 3 Discovery, 4 Savas.
And our parent rep, did they make it in? I can reach out to her and get that info, so
She emailed me that
Did-
she, so maybe she'll.
we'll reach out to her and see, so.
She emailed that she's coming.
Let's see. All right, so if we look at our rankings, Ms. Ellis, could you reach out to her just to see? If we can just get her rankings, that'd be great. All right, so based on the rankings, I think we have a pretty clear number one. So I should go back. So the lower the score, the better. It's like golf, right? The lower your score, the better. So you see we have McGraw-Hill at 1.3.
Can we zoom that in?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to. Is that better? So we have a pretty clear defined number one, okay? We have two that are tied at the 2.875. So Ms. Ellis is gonna reach out and see if we can get that ranking. So our issue now is we have to get a top two, okay? So looking at the two that have 2.875 and the average score in Ed Credible, based on the rubrics that were submitted, we have a 1.33, or excuse me, 133 and then 134, okay? So very, very tight, very, very tight.
Accelerate.
I'm sorry, yep, it's accelerated at Savas. Accelerating Savas. Accelerating Savas.
So does anybody have, can we offer any group discussion on those that like Accelerate and those that like Savas? What jumped out at you? Is that okay, Ryan?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So the floor is open for discussion now because we do have to narrow it to a top two. I think we've got a one. I think that's pretty clear. So now it's determining between Accelerate and Savas what would be our second one based on the rankings, and then also based on the Ed Credible score. So we'll open that floor for discussion, and Ms. Ellis, I'll let you lead that one on the curriculum side of it. So,
All right, so let's talk a minute about school votes and I'm gonna skip to something real quick. Is that
sure.
okay, Ryan?
Yep, absolutely.
So this year for school votes is gonna be a little bit different in that when you go back, and Ryan's gonna give you more logistics, but I wanna kind of set the precedent here. When you go back and you'll go back with two books, you're gonna have departments look at these and each department is going to give you a vote. So you will collect 6 votes for your school. You're gonna get a vote for kindergarten, the one the kindergartens want, the one ones at first grade want, because this is gonna make it equitable across the grade levels, okay? So you're gonna get a kindergarten choice, a first grade choice, second grade, third grade, fourth grade. Yeah, if there's a tie, then you'll have to offer it up to a vote, okay? But we're trying to be as equitable as possible between the number of teachers in K2 as there are in 3-5. Okay, that's, I want you to keep that in your heads, all right? The second thing I'll say is we want to have a discussion. So if you are passionate about, there were some people who voted highly for Accelerate Learning. Why did you vote highly for it? What did you like about it? And if you voted highly for Savas, what did you really like about it? So, anyone?
Yeah, I'd love to know the ones who voted ones for Savas, what was your reason behind that?
It was a totally different program than what we have now. They rebuilt it. It looks so much better, so much easier to use. And the reason why I gave Accelerate the lowest is because I never even had a teacher manual to try to, like I had all, I'm doing a plants unit right now, so I had all of the plants units open, all of the student books open. I didn't even have anything for Accelerate to like, compared to the other teacher manuals. So, and I love their online part. I love the interface, easy to use, but I couldn't ever find the flow of what to do. And they have that planning page, but it's very basic. It's almost like what you see in the table of contents online. I could not follow. I had no flow. Like I don't, maybe I was missing a teacher manual. Did they come with one and I not get it? Oh, okay. So,
And one of the things I didn't like is they talked so much about this awesome assessment bank and how you can pull assessments or create your own, and they're not available to look at. So to vote for something that you don't even know what the quality is or how well it's going to assess them, and I know it may be different for like K2, 3, 5, but in 5th grade they have to take that science test, and I didn't see any of the stuff that they talked about online.
Which one was that?
Yeah, which one am I talking about?
Accelerate.
Let me
well, we
interject.
can access the
Scope.
student platform.
Let me interject one more data point real fast, and then we'll let the discussion continue. So I went and counted just the number of number 1 and 2 rankings that each of those two that they received. And so Savas received 10 rankings of 1 or 2, and then Accelerate received 8. Okay, so I'll just throw that out there as another data point also.
Yes, sir.
Can you do that with how many last place votes they got?
I can.
Because it was surprising to see Savas that high, because time and time again, it seemed like that was last.
All right, yes, ma'am.
Well, I'm thinking too, like, we're departmentalized, so a big thing for Accelerate was all those little bitty books and having to store them for 40+ kids and like the storage. Whereas that's one book, and then Accelerate had like 4 or 5 mini books per kid. So I'm like, what in the world am I gonna do with all that as well? So that was a big issue with the different ones, all the storage and the books and.
And they also never said each kid will get a textbook. It could be like social studies where you have 3 books for an entire class. So that's another thing.
So the adoption is digital and a consumable for each student.
But, sorry, K2 had those little mini books.
Gotcha.
Whereas 3-5 had the consumable. So it was different for us, so that's what I was thinking.
So what about those, I mean, we kind of switched it instead of what you like about something, it's more about what you don't like, which is fine. So what does it, you don't like Pearson, what did you not like about, Savas, sorry. Ultimately, all right?
I have too much trouble navigating it. I had trouble when I assigned it to the kids. I went through and I didn't see a lot of new stuff. And so, I mean, we just had a lot of trouble with it. I'm just gonna be honest with you. The other thing is, I feel like we're a committee that's presenting, and I chose, Accelerate and McGraw-Hill because they're 2 different ways to do it, and 2 different delivery platforms, not totally, but they're, and so I feel like we're giving people an option. Do you want it mostly online, or do you want it, like McGraw-Hill? So that's why I made that decision, because it's just us, and it's a whole lot of other teachers, and I don't know, they may want that, I don't know. That's why I did it.
I agree with the online platform. I find it very hard. I teach first grade, and then when I looked at the changes, I've noticed too. So our biggest complaint in first grade that we had, and that they did change, is that the content was too, like the words and things, it was too over the kids' heads, and they didn't fix the language. They just took stuff out. So we made
individual
3
vote.
pages that we had to teach for a whole unit, now we're down to 1 page that we have to teach for a whole unit. So we've lost all kinds of content in the primary ages without the developmental appropriate language to go with it too. And then for Accelerate though, they do have their test bank. Discovery was the one that didn't have their test bank. Yeah, Accelerate did have their test bank, their question bank. So-
When I looked on it, it says this is still being built. That's what it said. When I cause I created the account and went in and I talked to other
This is where K2, 3, 5 different
Right.
texts
Yeah.
would be. Because like with Accelerate, we're so big on underlining text edit, marking, doing all of that. And if you have a hardcover book that you might only have 3 of in your classroom, you can't ever go deep with the text.
How realistic is that only 3 hardcover books in our classroom a week?
But that's what it is
She
for
said it's a
social studies.
consumable and digital access, so we're not even like.
That's it.
So there's gonna be no.
That's not what they showed us, though. It came with the textbook, with the multiple different books to go with it. And somebody actually asked at the presentation,
That's what I thought.
are we gonna have one for every student, or are we getting one set for the school? And they said that's up to the district, so we never actually got
So
an
the
answer
district
back.
answer is consumable is digital.
That's probably gonna be the way, I would base your decision off that model, is what I would base that off of.
And it's kids off on all of them, no kids across the board. As far as
Say that again.
Experiment kids across, none of them, we're coming with the kid.
I would say no. I don't wanna overpromise and underdeliver.
So if you're
So-
saying digital and, if you say
Yeah.
digital and consumable,
did.
but Accelerate for 3.5 has the hardcover,
Yeah.
would we not get 1-to-1 for the hardcovers?
For hardcover textbooks.
Hardcover textbooks and the consumable for 3 through
Because
5.
the
Will
text
every
is
student
not in the consumable.
Because that should sway a 3 through 5
Yes.
vote. Because if every student doesn't get a textbook,
I don't think you can guarantee anything right now.
That's correct. So when it comes down to hardcover textbooks, right? Like every kid gets a hardcover textbook, I would anticipate the answer being no.
Yeah, every kid wouldn't get a hardcover textbook. That would probably be a class set.
For the whole school, and then you have 9 teachers.
No.
Oh, you'd still get a class set,
A
though.
class set.
so I would
per-
still get 20. It would
Yes.
not be like what happened with social studies.
Yes, but again, no, just know, nobody can guarantee anything financially right now. But that will be the presentation. Did I say that well?
That's perfect. Perfect.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, in the presentation, when they were all here, Accelerate said that in their price, the kits came with it. Is that still?
No,
what they're-
no
So
kids,
they took-
no
they took
kids.
that out.
I don't remember hearing
They did
that.
say that, yeah.
They
They did say
did.
that.
Yeah, I've heard.
Because we all got excited.
Yeah,
Like, oh, they did all right.
Yeah.
You get your 1 kit to help.
Yeah, there's no kids. I don't think there's any kids.
See, and that's why I like the digital, like the Discovery and the Savas. When I went online for 3rd grade, they had the experiments that they could do online.
And I think the others did as well. You could make a choice, yes.
McGraw, I didn't, there was just so much. I prefer.
Is there any wheeling dealing? Like, all right, we got you guys tied, what are you gonna give us to break the tie? Or I used to be a fighter.
Some index cards, and basically y'all will all vote, for your number 2 book.
So here's what the Accelerate pack, the pricing they submitted. Okay, that's what they're saying is included in that package for the pricing.
Digital assessment package, reports and analytics, lesson planning, scope and sequence, 5-year bundles of teacher guides per student to teacher ratio of 18:1. 5-year bundles include teacher guides to students. So in other words, the teacher resources, they give 1 teacher resource for every 18 students that we purchase. Some publishers, you have to buy the teacher materials. They don't come with it. So they're saying that they're providing 1 for 18 students. And then the initial digital platform training. So there's no activity kits in this at all. So none of them are doing that.
I think the pricing under ancillary So it'd be an extra cost.
All right, any other discussion?
Not go and figure it out.
Any other discussion? Somebody feel passionate about?
I'll say something about Savas that,
Okay.
maybe I'm the outlier, but I felt like it was more dumbed down. I felt like it was not rigorous enough, it was not pushing the kids to meet the standards that, pushing the kids to learn the standards that they need. It just was too simplistic. I mean, even the vocabulary words weren't enough. There weren't even the vocabulary words necessary that the kids need to learn. I felt like it would need to be supplemented. And it was more dumbed down than what we have currently, for lack of better words. So I just was super unimpressed.
Maybe I shouldn't do this, but the fifth grade teachers are on the hot seat. They're the ones that the kids take the test. So what do the fifth grade teachers think in this room? Because they're the ones that are gonna have the data.
I pulled up what Savas presented on my computer, and I had, well, what I have now and what they gave us in front of me, and things were not different. The questions, the tests, the content, nothing changed on the fifth grade platform. So I know the younger grades, they said they saw a lot of differences, but
That's
being a
interesting.
fifth grade teacher, I mean, I looked through.
Our fifth grade teachers looked through it and they
Yeah.
said they hated this one, but that was actually my fifth grade number one book. Was
And they
for
have a
Savas
rhythmic
next year.
practice
I
book that
think,
comes
I
with
think
it for
the
the
reason,
semester.
I think the reason why they said that is because there wasn't anything in, they didn't give us anything at the school to look at.
What do you mean?
Like the kid, the Simpsons.
Oh, comparing that to.
Savas. The Simpsons didn't give us a whole lot to
Can you
look
go
at
back
at
and
the
pull
school.
tests?
We had more to look at here, segmentation wise.
It's the same way.
Than we did at.
Yes, it's the same.
They rearranged the questions.
But
Y'all are in the hot seat.
That's a good point.
It's the truth.
That when,
But your questions don't match like.
I mean, we can supplement or pull stuff out, but they gotta do a lot of work.
That we use, like, you're sending us those, weekly ones to use right now for nature science, they don't match that rigor.
And I taught fifth grade science, I currently teach third, so in my mind, I'm thinking, what I'm teaching now needs to meet those standards, and I'm going, this isn't helping progress them to that point. So even just the vocabulary, like I said, isn't pushing them, we're not pushing them along to get them there. And those assessment questions, everything in there is just thin, it's just, it's just not there. On there.
All right. Think we're good?
Think so.
Any other burning comments? All right, so you are to put one of two things on your piece of paper. Either Savas or Savaz, I don't know. Which is it, right?
I say Savas. I say Savas, you know.
Savas or Accelerate? Savas or Accelerate? For your number two choice. Yeah. One of those for your number two. McGraw-Hill's moving forward. We're trying to decide what number two will be.
Why do we have to do the two? I mean, if the majority.
Because we gotta.
We had already discussed quite a bit, so that's okay.
I won't tell everybody in this room. It's fine, you can, they probably figured it out.
These are the two that.
So,
Fifth grade. Yeah, because our primary early, they liked Accelerate. Liked McGraw-Hill, even though that's not how the numbers played out. McGraw-Hill came in the third grade, but I'm so happy that it's in there. Oh. You have your phone?
Got yours?
Yes.
Nine for Sabbath, 15 for Accelerate. So Accelerate's going on as number 2. Y'all can discuss that, Ryan. I've done my due diligence.
Nope, you're good, you're good. That was exciting.
I know, right? You've got 9 people mad at you.
That's fine. It's only 9, it's a good day. So, all right, so let's talk about next steps. All right, so we've narrowed it down to our top 2, okay? So, the next step is gonna be the school vote, okay? And Ms. Ellis, I may need you to jump up here if I misspeak. But no, but let me talk to you about how the state kind of operates. Not kind of operates. So they're going through the same vetting process we're doing right now. And so our top 2 will go to the schools for a vote, okay? And whoever wins that vote will be our number 1, okay? That will be the one that we recommend to the school board pending approval from the state, okay? And the reason we rank everybody out is if our top 2 for some reason didn't make it by the state vetting process, we would then go to our number 3 choice, okay? Do I foresee that happening? No. But if y'all remember a couple years ago with math, that's exactly what happened. And so we rank everybody out today so we do not have to reconvene and meet again and go through this process again, okay? So what's going to happen is, it may be today, but it might be tomorrow. I'm going to send you an email with ballots for your school, and they'll be anonymous. Folks don't need to put their names on them. And so you will then facilitate a school vote at your school, okay? So a couple questions. Who can vote, right? It's the teachers that teach science, okay? If they teach science, they can vote. They can vote once, okay? What we are going to do this year is we're going to do it by grade level. So we'll have, we're going to ask you to track a kindergarten vote, a first grade vote, second, third, fourth, fifth, okay? So the majority rules, so I'm going to use Antioch as an example because you start with A. So if you have 25 teachers at your school and 13 vote for publisher A, that will be Antioch's vote, okay, for the number 1 for the district, okay? I'm going to ask you to hold on to your paper ballots until the entire process is done, because if there's a tie.
I'm sorry. I feel like that
Okay.
that just confused things. So
Yeah, I
sorry.
thought we were
No.
getting a grade level.
Right, we're going to get a grade
Correct.
level vote. So it's not that the majority rules at first. Majority only rules if there's a tie.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's why I have her up here, because she keeps me straight.
Majority rules if there's a tie.
Yep. So when it comes down to your school, though, that's where, no, you don't want to tie. But we do ask you to hold the individual votes at your school, okay? Because if there is a tie district-wide, that's when we go and count individual teacher votes, okay? So if publisher A and B are tied, it's split 12 schools and 12 schools, okay? I'm going to email you and say, hey, give me your individual teacher counts for Accelerate. Give me your individual teacher counts, votes for McGraw-Hill, okay? And that's how we break that tie for the number 1, okay? So, yep.
We have a 3-4 split, so she teaches science to 3rd grade and 4th grade, but she can only vote once, right? So
So typically they voted once, is what we've always recommended, what we've always followed in our process.
So is it just, yeah, 4th grade has less. So I'm just,
I would
I
vote
just want to
majority.
do the right thing. Where is she supposed to vote?
The majority of students, if she has 12 third graders and 10 fourth, I'd vote 3rd, okay?
Thank you.
2 important dates I need you to write down, and we'll come back to more of the school voting logistics, just to clarify it. So,
I'm right on that.
February,
Is ESE considered a department? A separate department?
say it again.
Is ESE considered a separate department?
Yeah, if they teach science, if it's a self-contained and they teach science to that student, then yes,
So
they,
instead of doing like grade level, is it just one ESE vote? Because we have 11 portables out there, so I gotta.
So is it ESE or is it, do they count in 15?
I would count them in the grade level. So if they're teaching 5th grade science to a self-contained ESE, put them in 5th grade. Okay, if they're teaching 2nd, put them with 2nd. All right, so February 29th. We are going to invite our top 2 publishers back here in this room. Okay, you guys are not required to come, but you're welcome to. That's a community night, so teachers can come and speak to the publishers, parents can. We ask that you not have your school vote until after February 29th, okay? That gives anybody that's interested in coming and speaking to them the opportunity to do so before they have to cast their final vote.
So let's
Okay.
clarify, don't do your school vote until after February 29th. So March 1st or later. When's it due?
So the school, your school results are due to me by 2 o'clock on March 13th. You can send them earlier. You can send them earlier. Anytime between March 2nd and the 13th, you can send them to me, okay? And how I collect them is I will send a Google Doc out to you guys, and you just reply to that automatically, okay?
What is the range again from March 2 to?
March 1st to March
13th.
13th.
March 13th.
Due March 13th. Due March 13th.
And that just tallies it for me. You know, never do math in public, so that way I let the computer do the talk or the work for me. And that will also help me track if we're going to need to do a tiebreaker. Okay, I can kind of monitor it in real time and say, okay, we're getting tight. Okay, so February 29th, anytime after the 29th, is due to me by the 13th at 2 o'clock.
So the meeting for the teacher and parents are here, is here?
It'll be here on the 29th from 4 to 6 p.m. Definitely spread the word to your teachers. If they want to come, they're more than welcome to. But it's wide open for anybody that wants to attend. If your teachers want to go online and look at the materials online, I'll send you the link to that. It's on our district website, but I'll include that. And I'm going to email all this information to you guys in an email. And I'll include that link so you can see, so you can pass it on to anybody that's interested.
They had a brilliant idea in middle school, and I don't know how this would filter for elementary because I've not taught elementary. But one of the middle school teachers said they have been letting students look at these resources too, like the books, and kind of getting their feedback as well on what they think about them. So I know maybe especially in 3rd, 5th, that might be something to do, and it might be K2, I don't know. But just throwing it out there as an idea to kind of get some student voice in the process. Because I wrote a course once with this Florida Virtual School, and we had to pick these themes, if you will, and we voted on them, and my number 1 and my number 2 were students' last choices, and their first choices were my last choices. It showed me that even though I thought I was with it with teachers, as a teacher, I was very off base with what students actually liked. So student voice is kind of fun.
All right, are there any questions on just the logistics of the voting? Now's the time to ask it. I know it's a lot of information coming at you really fast.
I do have one.
Sure.
Okay, so this sounds stupid. I'm embarrassed to even ask. Okay, you have 2 kindergarten teachers to teach science. Okay. So each of them vote. But they have to come up with one vote.
Yes, between them, yes.
So they vote on different things.
And it's a tie, you don't have to do it with the whole school.
Give them the same
Count
vote
everybody's
they had
vote.
to use.
Yeah.
You don't count everybody's vote.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you have 6th grade, jump in if I misspeak. So you have 6th grade levels at elementary, right?
Yeah.
So if, let me do something. Never do it like again to math.
I know, right?
So if it's a 4-2 split, right? So if you have 4-2 split, right, for Publisher A and Publisher B, then Publisher A would be the school's vote. Does that make sense? If you go to a 3-3 split at your school, then you would want to count up the individual ballots for that publisher. Then that's your school selection.
But what she's saying is, what if a department's votes are split? They just need to decide. They're gonna have to pick one.
So you gotta, so we
They-
have to have a department vote.
They need to come up with a department vote.
Okay. And then
I mean-
later we have the school, right? There's 2 different votes.
No, there's one vote. There's You get a vote from each grade level, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if 4 want one thing, you go with it. Now, if it's 3 to 3, then you count your total votes, and that is what your school vote.
So that does mean that they can vote two different.
Well,
If it's a tie with the school.
But they can vote two different ones, and their grade level will not be part of the majority.
well, you just keep
Because
their
if you
ballot.
go back and count, then they
Yep.
didn't get, if one wanted something and one wanted another, then their two count. I don't understand.
Okay, so.
Why would you go back and count if everybody's voting the same for grade level?
You only count if there's a tie between the five grade levels.
If K-1, 2 wants to
Right.
accelerate,
If
and
K-1,
3, 4, 5
if you've
want
got a
this
3 to 3
McGraw
vote,
Hill.
then you have to go to your individual ballots and add it up. So, you only do all votes if there's a tie.
So if you have three people in a grade level, two vote for McGraw Hill and one votes the other, then it's McGraw Hill.
For third grade.
So if you just have two teachers in first grade and one votes for one and one votes for the other,
They need to decide, they need to
but then
talk.
you're telling them their vote doesn't count.
No, their vote does count for kindergarten.
Not if you have to go and count everybody's in the,
I'm not though. I'm not.
you might have to.
So if I come back, so they can each vote, so I gotta go back and then have them vote.
Well, then you have
So
to have
you're
a vote
saying-
again.
okay,
I see
because-
what you're saying now.
What I'm saying is you negated somebody, they've had to make a decision.
No,
But then if we go back and count them, it's not fair for the one that,
If they had two and they told you that we are split, but we're going with this, but if we go to a single vote, then yes. Now, if
that's what I'm saying, because that is a big
happens-
difference.
If that happens, count it a single vote.
Yes.
I mean,
So
that's-
keep their original vote, even though they've had to come to a team vote.
It's for the team.
Yes, so if we end up going to a.
Yes.
I mean, I'm sorry, but that's very
No, I see what you're
specific.
saying now. I wasn't following you at first.
Otherwise, it
I followed
doesn't
you.
matter whether we
I'm
keep
following
count the
you.
votes.
Yes, I see what you're saying. I'm hoping that's not.
Most grade levels do.
Right.
But some don't.
Took me a while. I got
I
there.
got you. You got it. You got it.
I got there.
All right, so
Time, right?
any other questions? All right, so just to wrap us up, if I'm going to collect your ranking sheets, if you can just leave them on the table or just set them up here on this main table. So you have a full day sub. You have a full day sub, and you can use it for a couple things. Everybody listen. So your sub is paid for the day, so you can use this time to kind of think through the logistics of your school vote and get organized if you'd like. Also, we realized this was a time-intensive task, so if there are other activities you need to attend to, I will leave that to your discretion, but you are free to go for the day. I know you'll use it wisely. I trust you. But look for an email from me, if not today, first thing tomorrow, trying to summarize all this information. And if you have questions in the interim, reach out to Ms. Ellis, Ms. Pearson, myself, and we'll get you that answer. So thank you all for coming. Have a great day.